Hello, everybody. Welcome to Nintendo Power Block, episode 217. I'm one of your hosts, Corey Deerigan. Alongside me, as always, is that Retro Code, Eddie V.
I am the Legend of Zelda Breath of the Star.
Wow.
Hello, everybody.
Smooth.
Wow. Ed's been getting into our Boss Rush group chat, I see.
What? I've been a good boy. So.
Also joining us is our Hylian heroine, Celeste Roberts.
Good evening, everybody. I hope you're getting ready for Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, whatever holidays. What is it, Festivus? Is that the other one?
I think so.
Festivus for the rest of us?
Mm-hmm.
Whatever Final Fantasy Destiny thing it is.
That's Seinfeld.
Yeah. But we could incorporate it into those too.
Well, we have a very special guest this week. Author of An Era Without a Hero, David Wayne Nystrom.
Hello.
Yes!
Oh, he's so much fun. Ed and I did his 1v1 a few months ago, and It was a Zelda fest.
Oh yes.
So, David, this is our first interaction. But,
outside of a few Twitter chats here and there, but
yeah, I would say face to face, but this is clearly yeah. But if people didn't listen to your 1v1, which you should, it's on the Boss Rush podcast feed. Go find it. Also on our YouTube channel. Why don't you tell everybody what you do and a little bit about your awesome work that you're doing?
So I'm a staff writer over at Zelda Dungeon. I mean that's something that I do just in my free time, whatever. But my big passion obviously is Zelda. But to extend that, I about 10 years ago started working on what at the time was my own this is just like a fan game that turned into essentially my life's work, which is The Era Without a Hero. It is an exploration, if you will, of the era on the timeline between Ocarina of Time and The Wind Waker. It's an ongoing series right now over on Zelda Dungeon. So every couple of weeks, I get a 5-week cycle as part of their Fanfiction Friday, and I put out what's essentially half chapters for 5 weeks. And then I occasionally try to upload my full chapters onto my personal blog site for the story, along with artwork, music, whatever else I create in that world for that.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. When I go to bed, sometimes I leave your YouTube channel open and just listen to the music when I fall asleep.
Oh, thank you.
It helps.
I love the story so much. I love that it's a bit of a darker take on Zelda, because we've gotten glimpses of darkness in some Zelda games, but David, he doesn't hold back with those fight scenes. I love it.
Yeah, there's a few more coming up when I get to later parts. It doesn't get any lighter.
Wow.
And then recently, I actually, for my birthday, my wife got me my physical version of the first part of it, which will be coming to people will be able to buy it at some point. I just need to work out some getting it printed and distributing, and then making sure that I'm not stepping on any Nintendo legal feet by selling it and stuff like that. And if things go well, I'm going to try to sell it. There'll be just the basic version with the book, and then like a next level up that'll include a nice version of the map that I built, and then the third step would be to include the soundtrack with it as well. So you could get this bundle thing with all of it. Again, there's some hiccups I still have to work out to get all that going, but hopefully early 2021. So
yay! I see.
Well, if there's
you took the Oh, I was just saying, when you showed the picture of the book when you was holding it, I got super happy. I'm like, pre-order.
I know. If if everything doesn't go as planned, can I purchase your special mystery box?
I will find a way to get people that want it really bad. I will find a way to get them copies. So, unless I'm like legally bound to not do so.
Yeah, we don't want to get you in Ninty's bad court.
I don't want to face off with Phoenix Wright. I feel like I would lose.
Oh man, well that's an exciting thing that you're working on. I can't wait to like,
dive in
from you and dive in. And like I said, I listen to your soundtrack like at least 2 or 3 times a week just to fall asleep to, because it helps. So
awesome.
It is your magnum opus, it sounds like.
Yeah,
it really is. Yeah, I mean, when I have a buddy whose name is also David, and he was the one that asked me 10 years ago, whatever it was. He and I had just gotten my copy of Hyrule Historia. We opened it up, we're flipping through it, and we got to the timeline. We just sat there just BSing about it, and he asked me the question: if you could make a Zelda game on this, what would you do and where? And that was where it began, like a question, and I zeroed in on that label of the arrow without a hero, and I didn't like that. It just didn't sit right with me. I'm like, surely somebody did something right. And 10 years later, here I am.
That's awesome.
That's awesome. I love seeing people's creativity come to life, because I notice if I don't do something creative or fun, I get kind of grumpy. Do you guys ever get that way? Like if you're not following, I'm not saying you have to go and like publish a novel every single day or complete a novel, but if you don't do something, just exaggerating. Just
you know what I'm going to do this week? I'm going to write 7 novels.
Oh, that's 14. You don't.
I literally get bored and try to find something creative to do, because it's in me to be creative, and so I'm like, I need an outlet to do something. So whether I'm writing something crazy, I'm podcasting, I'm doing videos or playing the game, picking little sections out of a game and like really building something around it. I like that creativity to think and get it out there, because if I don't create, I'm bored to death, I feel like I'm wasting life. It's just like, why am I here right now not doing nothing? So
yeah, so actually this stemmed from our 1v1 Celeste, and I did yours and MJ's back to back, and I started writing a little bit, like something I had been working on for about 10 years at that point, just like bits and pieces here and there, and I was like, I really want to write a book, but what would be even cooler is if I wrote a game. So I turned that idea into a game idea. It's something I've been, but then I'm like,
that happened with me. So
yeah, it's just like, it's
that's
like
awesome.
It's like, I don't know how to make a game though, so I don't know how this would work, but if it ever happens.
That's the thing. Like people, I think when we're younger or more naive, it feels like, I feel like some people worry that, oh gosh, I'm in competition with people, but igniting someone else's flame does not diminish your flame or put it out. You can celebrate other people's accomplishments, and I love that, because if we all share our ideas, it's better for everyone.
Yeah. I told Dan in our writing group, because he was asking like, what should I write in and everything, and I told Dan, I was just like, I would love to hear from you using Mario Maker or Mario Maker 2 to explain the video game industry. And to like really be like how as a developer it takes everybody to make the assets, to make levels, and we as the players and the critics putting stuff out there, putting the stuff out there, you are really surprised at how much reactions you get, because when you make a level for Mario Maker, you beat it and you put it out there, everybody could judge it, everybody could leave a comment or criticize, and it's pretty much on how games are. When we put something out, there's going to be some kind of opinion or criticism, and we'll grade it and stuff. And so I feel like Mario Maker is like the definition of the video game industry. And then if you want more levels like DLC, well, you can up some money and get them, or that developer could give it to you for free, so you create more levels and stay in the game and attack. And I kind of want to hear, I don't know if Dan's gonna write it yet, but I'm just like, I would love to see you just like write that and see what people say about it.
That would be really cool. I know Dan's been traveling for work a whole lot, so I think he's a little out of commission for some things, but yeah, that's a good point about Mario Maker.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's what this started as, right? Just some kind of dumb creative thing, and it's Ed's fault. He said yes, so here we are, 217 episodes later of this show, and what, 700 episodes of something at some point, so it's Ed's fault. Ed, this whole thing is your fault.
Thank you.
Thank you. Let's get into this housekeeping. This is the Nintendo Power Block Boss Rush Games Nintendo podcast. Every week, Celeste, Edward, and I, as well as our friends from around the internet, come together right here on twitch.tv/Boss Rush Games Live to talk about the latest news, rumors, releases, and your questions in the world of Nintendo. If you can't join us live, no big deal. You can head on over to youtube.com/Boss Rush Games Live. Or Boss Rush Games, sorry, wow. And podcast services everywhere. And remember to like, subscribe, share, rate, and review us. And check out all of our content on bossrushgames.com. That was a terrible read of the housekeeping, but that's okay. We're just going to leave it in. That's how it goes. We are doing a giveaway. We are giving away a digital code of Pikmin 3 Deluxe on Nintendo Switch. The rules are simple. Email us at nintendopowblock@gmail.com. A screenshot of what podcast service you subscribe to us on and why you listen. A screenshot of your review and rating on Apple Podcasts grants you a second entry. We'll be announcing the winners during our live show on October 26th, which is, what, 2 weeks from? No, next week.
Next week.
Next week. Man, is Pikmin out next Friday already? Jeez.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's next Saturday's Halloween.
Oh, jeez. During the live show on October 26th, which is the 28th audio show, so get your entries in today. We will get you that code as soon as we end the show. That way you can have it preloaded and ready to go to play when it goes live.
Happy early holidays, y'all.
Yeah. It's like, there's, I guess, trick or treat.
Trick or treat, but no tricks, just treats.
No tricks. What if we just gave them like a Japanese language version?
Oh,
that's just mean. What is it that we used to say when we were kids? Trick or treat, smell my feet, give me something good to eat. If you don't, I don't care.
I don't care.
I'll pull down your underwear.
You can smell my underwear.
Oh, okay. I can.
Wow.
Yeah, we were little bandits, weren't we?
That was what was in my area. You can smell my underwear. Okay.
Group chat's coming alive, people.
I think it was I can see your underwear where I was.
Yeah.
I can. Oh, I thought it was. I'll pull down your underwear. Wow, what perverted little kids.
Something with underwear in it, just be like,
Yeah. That is gross, and we didn't really think about it because as kids, you say that word and you just giggle the whole time.
And what grown adult are trying to pull what grown kids are trying to, or kids I should say, trying to pull some adults' underwear down. Like you got to pull their pants and go through all of that stuff just to pull somebody's underwear because you didn't get no candy.
This sounds like a lot of
share
extra
a personal
work.
Story.
Oh, jeez. Should we? Is this going to require? Is this require us to throw an E on our episode this week?
No. I told this to Corey in my 1v1, but when I was teaching English in Japan, I had a classroom of 3 5-year-old boys who were, oh my gosh, they were birth control incarnate. And
wow.
they were just rowdy. And I don't know if you guys are familiar with conchoing in Japan.
I mean, I am because of the story, but
it's a thing. It reminds me. What's that?
Is it where they run around and they like try to like
goosey?
I don't know. Thumb.
They try to like poke you in the butt. Yeah, they take their two index fingers and they try to poke you in the butt.
So there's a video game about that.
Well, one of them, while I was teaching, tried to do it to me reverse, and I got really mad.
Oh wow!
Nothing happened. It was just kids.
Yeah.
You know, kids. It's like, I do not want to be put on a list in Japan, please. Please get away from me.
Oh boy. Well, speaking of being poked in the butt, it's time for Snacktendo.
Yes.
I don't know how that's a transition, but it's a transition.
Can we share our guest snacks first?
Yes, please.
Yes. Okay.
Get us out of this trash fire of a conversation.
I would like to say hello to Austin Campbell, who is part of Boss Rush Games. His submission for Snacktendo is a picture with the Clubhouse buttery crackers, cream cheese spread, and Lowry's seasoned salt.
Lowry's goes on everything.
Lowry's, yes.
Mm-hmm. So that looks delicious. Thank you so much, Austin.
Austin, are you having anything to drink with it?
No, just dry.
Well, he's not in the chat, so So he didn't post a drink. You know, he's probably just gonna choke on the crackers. That's what I think is gonna happen. But okay, and then thank you, Geek Bro, for submitting your two snacks. So he is eating some pistachios.
Yes.
Good stuff. And then he said, I have another snack to share. A melted Reese's cup in my heater vent. My son must have stored it like a squirrel.
Wow. I have to say, Corey, I ate, and I know you don't like Reese's Pieces, but I put my chocolate bars and stuff in the refrigerator, and I ate them at work, and I'm digging cold candy.
I'm so happy you've seen the light.
Thank you, Ed. I freeze everything. I freeze brownies. I freeze Twix bars. I
can't do brownies.
Dude, you got to get the Little Debbie Cosmic Brownies and you just freeze them.
I'll fix them up tomorrow. I knew you mentioned it, but I haven't got the Cosmic Brownies to do
it. So good. Anyways.
Megan says, thank you,
gosh.
Megan, for joining our chat. Megan is also part of the Boss Rush Games crew. Her snack, White Claws, Tostitos, and queso.
I mean, sounds like her.
I still need to try these White Claws.
Yeah, do you?
My wife said that, and her reaction was, okay, this tastes like beer with water. And then handed it to me, and I said no.
Which one was it? I think they have different flavors.
I don't remember. She had like 2 or 3 of them, but... And she tried them all and was just like, no, it's not for me. I'm like, okay.
It's weird. White Claw feels like it just came out of nowhere and someone made it popular. I don't know who.
It's been around forever. I don't understand why it's so popular now. I feel like it's just like been around forever.
I think because a lot of people, definitely in my area, who do like Budweiser or like Colt 45 or like some kind of cheap liquor or for beer and stuff. I think that's what they've been on. And just no one talks about White Claw. Like in my area, it's mostly online that people talk about White Claw.
It's yeah, I don't know.
I tried. I'm not. Is it a beer? Is White Claw a beer?
I don't know.
I think it's supposed to be like a wine cooler, but I don't think it's what it actually is. I don't.
Yeah, I don't know. I would say something really mean, but she already yelled at me 3 times today. So.
Oh, Geekro says it's a seltzer. So thank you for clarifying.
Yeah.
Because I don't drink very much, but I like girly, quote unquote, girly drinks. The drinks are not.
I mean, so do I.
Like the gender. I'm just being silly.
I mean, let's be honest, they taste better.
And I got excited because there's this beer called a snowball beer, and I thought it was going to taste like a snowball, which are called snow cones in other regions. It did not taste like that. It tasted. I thought I don't know. It tasted like cough syrup. I don't know. It's just. Have you guys ever ordered or picked up a drink, but you're thinking, okay, it's going to be really sweet, it's going to be really refreshing, and it's very disappointing?
Actually, yeah.
I don't know. I don't even remember the last time I actually drank anything, to be honest with you.
I mean, I know for me, mostly I would do like an Angry Orchard. I know in Wisconsin they have this one kind of drink. It tastes almost like soda. I cannot think of. I gotta ask my friend of it. But like every month they have a different flavor for that month, and their one that they're known for is like a peach. And man, that peach one is good. I think they sell it at one of their grocery stores in Wisconsin. So on the day of November 3rd, I'm gonna be a little bit faded. I'm going to go get some drinky drinks that night. And as the election is going on,
oh jeez,
if we'll see what the results are, whatever that be. If a certain person gets reelected, I'm getting straight toasted. I'm going to be under the couch and toasted.
We have another White Claw share. Billy from Retrovaniacs and also part of Talk the Walk has shared his snack. He is eating pumpkin-shaped Reese's cups and drinking a mango White Claw.
Nice. David, you have to tell me about your Legend of Zelda cook item that you made.
Yes. So I have the physical copy of the Legends cookbook, and I've made a few recipes out of there. But this weekend we did the tough meat stuffed pumpkin. And so we actually went to the store, got a pumpkin, just for eating, not for carving or anything like that. Just to make, basically it serves as it becomes like a stew pot. You brown up your meat. We used beef, but you could probably use any other kind. Probably any other kind of like red meat would work really well with that. And then you throw in some onions and some peppers and a couple like sauces to make a sauce for it, and then you throw it into the pumpkin. Put the pumpkin in the oven and let it cook. And when it comes out, it's amazing.
Now I'm really hungry.
It looks so good.
Yeah, I seen you do pictures of you like cooking it and stuff because you also had the apron.
Yeah.
So, but I didn't get to see if you did a picture for like the final meal or anything.
I did post one. I even posted like a short video, like actually taking like the top of the pumpkin off and watching the steam flow out. You could see it like bubbling in there for a second. It was.
Sounds amazing.
There isn't no
good.
pumpkins.
You're my competition, David.
That's one thing. There is no pumpkins in Breath of the Wild. I'm just now thinking about that.
Yeah, there are.
Yeah, there are.
There's a pumpkin patch in Kakariko Village.
Yeah, they're known for their pumpkins.
Yeah.
I have not gotten one yet.
Well,
wait, if you go in like one of the gardens,
Ed's barely
one
played
of the
this
guys
game,
gets
guys.
really mad at you.
Ed's barely played the game. He's like walking around with a stick on the Great Plateau still,
You know what? I am
throwing apples at the old man. It's fine.
He's throwing apples. Oh my god, you guys! What if you could use apples as a weapon?
It'd be awesome.
Breath of the Wild.
That'd be fun.
Yeah.
Can you imagine? Oh my gosh! If you got to like
bananas
unicorn.
as bait. You can use bananas as bait against the Yuga, so
yeah.
Oh, their
kind
reaction
of like a
to
weapon.
bananas. Oh.
Yeah, I'm about to go get my Master Sword and then work on the game. I'm almost done, Corey.
Are you?
Yes, I am.
Are you going to be done before Hyrule Warriors comes out?
Yes, I will. Yes, I will.
Are you sure? Because you only have about 32 days left.
I'll finish it. I'm quick with games. Don't worry.
Okay, the important thing is you finish the main story, and then you can do all the DLC stuff and the side quests.
Or you could have put 225 hours into it like I did 3.5 years ago.
Yeah, after you was using a guide and not finding everything by yourself.
I found everything I wanted to find by myself. I beat the game, and then I was like, to clean up the extra stuff, I'm going to use a guide because this game's hard.
On our first playthrough, we got to somewhere around, I want to say around 600 Korok seeds after beating all the shrines and doing all the DLC and stuff like that before we finally cracked out the guide to get the last few hundred to get to all 900. That was exhausting.
I see you have the golden poop trophy too.
Yes.
Well,
and then I restarted, so I lost it.
Wow.
Oh.
Wow.
I found
you guys
about
are the real Zelda fans.
I found about 520 of them by myself, which I think is a valiant effort.
I think
anything over 300 is more than acceptable because at that point they're useless. You don't need them all because Hestu stops upgrading your stuff at a certain point.
Yeah. So, see, Ed, I'm taking his praise over yours because he's the Zelda expert. So
he is the Zelda expert. He's helped us many times in the chat, and I can't remember the timeline.
Oh my gosh, yes.
I know that timeline too well.
Man. By the way, like speaking of timelines and books and stuff, I brought a bunch of stuff back to my house from my parents' house because, well, they've been asking me to clean out their basement for years, and I'm finally slowly doing it. And I put a bunch of all my Zelda hardback guides up on the shelf, and my kid pulled them down, and all of the maps from all of the guides fell out. But it I started looking at them. I'm like, man, this is like I have the cloth map from the Twilight Princess guide, and it's just like all these guides are just, man, they're great.
My Skyward Sword one's sitting right here on the shelf, and then my Breath of the Wild one's back there.
Nice.
Books, my hardback books are on a different shelf.
That is one thing I do give Nintendo and whoever they work with to do the Legend of Zelda guys. They are really great books.
I think it was Prima for a while, right?
Prima.
Until
I think so.
Until they, I don't know, went out of business.
Yeah,
Prima.
Yeah, their Wind Waker HD guide is really beautiful. I'm like, wow, I think the Nintendo guys, when they get really thorough and they got all that artwork and screens and stuff that's not in the game and stuff, it's just like, this is a collector's item. You know, whether you use it or not, it just looks beautiful.
I don't use.
I'm sorry, go ahead, Corey.
Oh, I was going to say, I don't use my collector's guides. I always buy a paperback one to use, and then the collector's one I just leave on the shelf. Except for my Twilight Princess Wii one, I use pretty abusively, we'll say.
Well, Corey, this is the Mari Blast of the Mountain Dew that me and Celeste was talking about.
Okay.
I've never tried that before.
This is the pineapple one.
Oh, is this the one you talked about in a previous
about the dollar store at the Dollar General?
Oh, okay. This is when we were talking about how certain stores have exclusive snacks, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's this is the pineapple one called Mari Blast. It only comes in this can, and they're the only ones that have it. Because they had a cane sugar one of Mountain Dew, but then I think that one started coming everywhere else too. So yeah, it's a pineapple flavor. Like it's better than regular Mountain Dew.
Awesome. And Ed is holding out on us, but he has some other snacks that he bought today.
Yes, everybody. I have, not trying to tip it over, German chocolate cake cupcakes. And they were only $5 at the grocery store. I have 10 of them, and I'm going to use them because I'm playing a certain game, and they made me go get cupcakes. So
a certain game. Well, why don't you tell everybody what that game is so they can listen to that episode?
That game is called Soma, and we will be discussing it with Billy leading the conversation on Talk the Walk, so you guys will be able to check that episode out. I have a lot of thoughts and a lot of words for that game, but I'm going to save it. Let's just say, Save them for the holidays, and I'm gonna leave it at that.
Wow.
Did you eat any other snacks, David? I mean, not that the pumpkin dish is a snack. That's a full-fledged meal, but...
Just my normal Chex Mix that I make every year. It's an old thing that my mom used to make, or still makes every year. Usually we'll start making Chex Mix at the start of football season, and it's just, we'll keep making batches of it all throughout football season. And it's just rice Chex, corn Chex, wheat Chex, some kind of pretzel, and then Worcestershire and butter, and throw it in the oven, salt it, pull it out, mix it up, throw some more butter on, throw some more Worcestershire, and then a little more Lowry's seasoning salt, and just keep mixing it up for about a half hour or so. And then candy corn. I like to mix mine with candy corn when I'm...
Yes, you are a man of taste.
Ruined it. You people and your candy corn, I tell you.
Look,
I should not eat candy corn. Let me rephrase that. Nobody should eat candy corn.
Yes, nobody should eat candy corn.
And I love it. And
I love it.
At least I'll allow myself a couple pieces during Halloween. So
look, we got 20 more. I mean, we got 12 more days to have all the candy corn that we can have, and then it's November, and we won't talk about candy corn until next October.
It lives on in my heart.
Ew. I mean, I know I'm not exactly the person to be talking about certain foods and being like the food critic on this show, but
I have a friend, and she lives over in Northern Ireland, and she asked, "What is candy corn?" Because she had no concept of what it was. Just like, is it like sweet corn? Is it? I'm like, it's like it's like a toffee chewy candy. And I had to explain it to her. I don't remember how I explained it to her, and she goes, "Oh, that sounds gross."
It's like those you know, those like candy, like root beer drink things that come in the wax bottles. It's that with just candle wax inside. It's gross. It's just gross.
I think for a lot of people, it's the texture of it. It's not so much the sweetness; it's the texture of it.
It's like a terrible version of like a gusher. With
Gushers are so good
with no juice inside.
Yeah.
Candy corn, oh gosh, how do I even describe it? It's like, do you like sugar? And then do you like sugar with your sugar?
How to turn fructose corn syrup into like solid state, and then just cheapen that up with some orange
How does
dye.
diabetes taste? Let me tell you.
I love it. I mean, I can't eat a whole bunch at once because it's too sweet. But
no,
I do like
but that's why it mixes so well with the salty Chex Mix. Like I said, I'll just like 10 pieces, 10 to 15 pieces. Throw them in a bowl of Chex Mix, and it's just every once in a while. Ooh.
I can tell you one thing: cows don't care what kind of thing of candy corn. They would eat it all, and we would get their milk. Because I still think that's really cool that corn syrup helps cows produce milk.
The only corn.
That's why we're all dying slowly.
Yeah, the only corn anybody should be eating is corn on the cob, or about 2 years ago I discovered Latin street corn.
Oh,
the elote.
Yeah,
I don't know. It was called Latin street corn on the sign, but you also have to remember I'm from rural Ohio, so everybody here is white. So
we proclaim it as suburban. You're very suburban.
Look, I live in a place where my mom still whispers every time she asks me how my internet shows are going. And I tell her I'm doing the Nintendo one, she still whispers, "Is that the one with the black guy?" And I have to tell her, yes, you can say that out loud. Like, it's not a bad thing to say anymore. It's 2020.
Ed is the human incarnation of a teddy bear.
I know.
And that's a good thing.
That's why when
if my mom ever met Ed, I would have to go hide somewhere.
I think your mom would love me if she met me. I was hoping to meet her when I came down. the first time to come meet you, and hopefully when I come back again, that she will meet me and I like adopt me. So your son can. Your son already has a brother, which is me. But I'm like, adopt me.
Oh man. Wow.
Geek Bro says you're great, Ed.
Oh, thank you so much. Oh yes. So
jeez.
My Chinese place did open up, and I got my chicken lo mein today. Oh my goodness. Okay, so it was delicious. It was like yes, for lunch special it was like $7.25. They packed it full. Like this is no cheap meal. Like I got my money's worth. I was just like, oh, so nobody's been ordering any food here because Josh is like double, triple time the food. Like it was almost flowing out of the box that they put it in.
So you have leftovers? Is that what you're saying?
I have leftovers, and I still have fried rice that I need to get to, and their fried rice is fantastic. I know we talk about fried rice a lot on the show because we were talking about it for the last 4 weeks, but man, I'm so glad to be eating their fried rice again.
Well, I'm glad it's open again. That's awesome.
Oh, rice paper's so good.
What about your snacks, Corey?
Well, I have a few. What did we do Friday? I don't remember what we did Friday, but Saturday we went to the zoo, but then this weekend was last Wednesday was our anniversary, but we celebrated it this weekend. We went to the zoo, and then we got a Chinese food takeout, which is there's like a really kind of, I wouldn't say fancy Chinese food, but it's better than like the hole in the wall. Let's put it on the paper buckets. You know what I mean? Like it's like if they were open, you get served like on really fancy plates, and you know what I mean. It's like it's good, I guess, quote unquote quality Chinese food. We got General Tso's. We got some pork and shrimp egg rolls. We got some crab rangoon. We got some shrimp, tempura shrimp sushi. Oh, so good. It was so...
That sounds absolutely delicious.
Oh, it was so good. And then last night, we wanted shawarma, but we didn't feel like driving to go get it. So I attempted to make our own. We didn't have any rice, but I cut up the tomatoes and cucumbers and made the tomato and cucumber salad. We did the whole hummus thing. My wife bought pita and tzatziki sauce, and I cooked chicken. I cooked some chicken, and we just made our own, and it was actually really good. So that was our food for last night.
Well, congratulations! I'm glad it went well.
Yeah, it was.
Did you have a burrito this weekend?
No, I haven't had one in like a month. I'm starting to be afraid that I'm losing weight. Keep those pounds on, guys. I mean,
you're gonna vanish before our eyes.
I know, man. That would be great.
No, don't say that.
If you vanish before our
no,
eyes.
not vanish, but just I meant like lost some weight is what I'm saying.
I would be driving to Ohio to be like, what the world is going on? Bring it back.
But yeah, this weekend for food, I swear we got rice paper at some point this week too. We did. I think we got it Thursday night. I got the Indonesian fried rice. Oh, so good. It's like
I can't wait to try that.
There's like 5 big pieces of shrimp in there. Just like, see what they do is like they cook it all in red curry, but like not a lot, so it's just like a little bit of spice. And it's like the perfect amount. It's so good. And then there's like onions and broccoli and shrimp and chicken. Oh, it's so good. It's so good. I really want some now.
Yeah.
I'm so hungry. Snack Tendo is a terrible idea at 9:30 at night.
Well, now I want to go make David's Chex Mix with the candy corn because that sounds delicious.
Mm-hmm.
See, I don't eat a lot of Chex Mix, but that does sound good.
Like sweet and salty.
Man, I'm really hungry now. Is anybody else hungry?
I'm starving now.
When is Nintendo Power Block? What is Nintendo Power Block just going to turn into a live cooking show the way that BU does on our Twitch channel?
that would be kind of cool, doing a Cookie Mama kind of. Oh, actually, I need to find that DS cooking game that Nintendo did.
Oh, that's
really nice
game.
Celeste, I did think of this though. I did think of doing like a seasonal cooking show because you have the Zelda cookbook and I have the Destiny one. And like we could do like a seasonal thing where like a 7 or 8 episode run, like one in the spring and one in the fall of just like, let's just cook a meal and edit it together and throw it on the channel.
I like that. I think that so I have to film myself like awkwardly cracking eggs.
Yep.
And
yep. But you got to make it all dramatic. You got to get those low camera angles in there on that.
Yeah.
Zoom into the little specks of pepper.
Yeah.
Watch a couple episodes of something on Food Network or it's like a food show on Netflix. You'll get all the the major lingo down, and you can just sprinkle that in.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot of editing, a lot of work.
That's why you would only do like 6 episodes.
British baking show.
That's why you would only do like 6 episodes, and then you have like you film the fall episodes in the spring, so you could actually put together the episodes.
Okay, are we gonna do like a Gordon Ramsay style angry situation, or are we gonna do like the really soothing lambs of the British show? I think David needs to make it. I see him being more animated than all of us combined.
Yeah. Do it.
I'll cook you something, Link.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
I've been looking for a chance to pull out my Ganon.
Oh, no,
Ganon animated
David.
Series.
Wait, I'm going to up the challenge.
Uh-oh.
You have to go outside on an open fire like Link does, and you have to cook everything.
I'll throw it. I'll literally just stand back and throw it into the fire and just stand there and watch it cook.
You won't even touch it. Just put your hands on your hips.
Like, no, it's like this long drawn out episode that's like 15 to 20 minutes, and then at the end of the episode he just holds up like this wooden, like the pixelated mush from the game. He just holds
the
it
dubious
up.
Food.
Yeah.
Yep.
So Castlevania.
That would be hilarious. That
Got
would be a
like
great.
parts of my hair like singed and on fire, soot over my face. Here.
That'd be a great bonus episode.
Right.
Oh my god. So I cooked up a storm on Saturday.
You did? What did you cook?
I entered the Calamity cook-off as well.
Ooh.
Yes. I posted both things on Twitter. I wanted to pay homage to Anju and Cafe since they get married mere hours before the world ends, unless of course you beat the game. So I looked up different recipes for Louisiana wedding cakes and compared them, and I made my own. And I made the frosting a grayish lavender color to match the couple's mask that you get in Majora's Mask. And I looked up the symbol for it, and with a butter knife I carved the symbol into the frosting, and it tasted really good. It tastes like wedding cake.
Awesome.
And
Nice.
then I made, so you guys know how Anju gets teased by her grandma because she's apparently a really bad cook. I was like, this girl needs some redemption. So I looked up variations of a popular Louisiana recipe called redfish coubillon, which is a red sauce with redfish, or you could use trout or catfish. And I made that, and I called it Anju's stew.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
So, yeah, and I shared the recipes too if you guys are in the mood for several hours of baking and cooking.
Nice.
I wish I could have that much time dedicated to do.
You just gotta make time, Ed.
Yeah, Ed, just make time.
What are you doing playing video games, Ed? Just stop playing games. Start cooking. God.
I really wish. So you know my secret, like everybody else. Ed, how do you play so many games within a month, in a week? I'm like, I have the time to do it.
That's okay. I'll share my food with you, Ed.
Thank you. I really want to know how to bake a cake again because I tried twice and I don't think I think I was somewhat successful, but not successful. I don't know what I did wrong. I actually did a yellow cake, and in the middle I put banana pudding in there. That you like the instant banana pudding, and then I covered it. Yeah, and then I covered it with chocolate frosting and stuff. And I'm just like, this is my first cake, so I don't know if it's good or not. But I've never been taught how to bake a cake. I just did the Betty Crocker instructions and called it a day. Just like, what do I need to do? Because I make a venture out of grocery shopping.
Wow.
You know.
Well, we can help you learn how to make one from scratch if you're. Well, okay. I will say, if you want to get into baking and you have to get all this stuff, it can be kind of expensive at first if you don't have the flour and the sugar, just all at once. But if you bake a lot, it ends up paying for itself because you have it on hand.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
you can do it.
Yeah, because like cookies, I want to do too. Because I want to learn how to make really soft, chewy cookies. Shout out to Pepperidge Farms.
They remember.
Wow.
Oh man, like the Chip Ahoy soft cookies and the Pepperidge Farms soft cookies are the best.
Wow.
Well, you just get it on Pinterest and start looking up soft cookie recipes.
The thing with Pinterest is I end up watching the videos and get entertained and be like, I love this. like it's relaxing. I love watching cooking videos and stuff. And I gotta start watching some of BU's because BU's got she have some great food, and I'm like, oh, I need to watch this.
Yes.
Wow.
The Geek Bro says Pepperidge Farm, way to represent, Ed.
There is because, like I said, because they're like half an hour from me. Every time I go visit that mall, I always go to their store, and I'm leaving out with about $10 to $15 worth of Pepperidge Farm stuff out of there, and it's because it's so good. And I'm like, when there's flavors in cookies that we don't sell here in Illinois, I gotta get it and then tell everybody you need to go get this and stuff. So yeah.
So wait, they don't have the cookies at regular grocery stores where you live?
Nope, they have Pepperidge Farms, but it's only a selected kind. So there's only selected flavors of cookies and chips and stuff like that. Where Pepperidge Farm, the outlet store, because it's their brand, they carry a whole lot of stuff that you can't find anywhere. Like only that they carry. Like you don't even see. Like when I was talking about the cherry ones, you won't find them in stores. I can't find them in stores anywhere. So when I see them at the Pepperidge Farm store, I was just like, I got to get this. And they were so good.
Dang. That was an incredible snack tendo.
Yeah. Wow. What is the show just going to turn into? Just food all the time, sprinkled with Nintendo? Is that already happened? Did that already happen?
Might be.
All right, we're going to get into some of these news bits. There's nothing. It's slow for Nintendo, as busy as it is for Xbox and PlayStation right now. It's kind of slow. It took me forever to find, just anything to talk about tonight, to be honest. But we're gonna go for it here. So, if this link would open. Somebody fill time while I'm opening this.
Anybody watch the new Age of Calamity teaser this morning?
Yes.
Third one of that series. Awesome.
Can
Daruk on a paraglider.
Yeah, I was gonna say Daruk. Is that even possible? Like,
apparently.
Not trying to, say he's large or anything, but
he's husky.
Yeah. He's
Can I say that
he's a large person?
Rock.
Can I say Nintendo has been doing a fantastic job marketing that game with these commercials. To me, it's kind of the Smash thing on how different commercials get you really hyped for that game before it comes out, and Nintendo's been doing a fantastic job dropping little bits hits in there and everything. And I think I can't really wait for this game to come out. You know, yes, it is coming out the day after Cyberpunk, but that's fine. Like, I'm going to have two amazing games to play, and if the music is good, like I said in Age of Calamity, it may be a contender for Game of the Year. Like, it may have a spot, and it just looks so good in action. Like, this game looks so good in action.
I'm coming out and saying, like, my anticipation is that I think this is actually going to be better than Breath of the Wild. That's my stance is I think this game could potentially be better than Breath of the Wild just overall, and I will not be surprised if I rank it higher than Breath of the Wild.
That's a bold statement.
I'm sticking with it, Cotton.
I know that David was especially excited for this one, especially for the lore.
Yes.
We want the story. We want to know. We know what happens to the champions, but it's really cool that I don't know, I kind of hope we see more of Link's backstory, like I've said before.
Yeah.
Well, it feels like some of the stuff that's in it that wasn't in Breath of the Wild. I think parts of this is going to be in Breath of the Wild too.
Yes, absolutely.
Like I don't know how they're going to do it or how they're going to pull it off, but I'm interested.
Yeah, I bet they're going to explore, like in Breath of the Wild 2, some of the events that we see in this game for sure.
I think they're going to experiment with some stuff in this. There's going to be some setup for Breath of the Wild 2 in this. I think it's everything that they did in Breath of the Wild, learned from. Now we're doing with Hyrule Warriors, Age of Calamity. They're going to take that and learn from it. And those two things together are what's going to be the final product of Breath of the Wild 2 and the third story in the trilogy.
Is Monolith Soft still helping them? I wonder.
Yeah, they are. They're helping with Breath of the Wild 2. I know that. Let's just talk about this because this news is boring. I want to talk about Age of Calamity. I'm like, I thought the first Hyrule Warriors was okay. Like, I mean, it didn't like blow me out of the water or anything, but like, I don't know, for some reason this one is like, I don't know if it's because I spent so much time in the Breath of the Wild world that I'm just more connected to these characters and, you know, these versions of these characters and the champions and everything. But I'm like, I don't know. I feel like I should go in with some sort of expectation, but that expectation, I'm just leagues above that expectation because it is Breath of the Wild based, you know?
I think with this, for me, outside of Breath of the Wild, it's that relationship that Nintendo and Tecmo has. And I think ever since, regardless of what, like I said, regardless of what people think about Metroid Other M, it just feels like Tecmo brings out its best work when they're working with Nintendo. And people who clowned or laughed at Hyrule Warrior who didn't expect it, you can see how it pretty got other people into the Musou games, and it kind of made people think like, oh, I want this character in this one of the next Legend of Zeldas, or this became my favorite character and stuff. And I think with Age of Calamity, you just see how we reacted to all of these characters that they're showing. That this is a prequel to Breath of the Wild, but you know, it's gonna feel like it's so much more, and I think it could hit like 1 million sales on the day one or within the weekend, and I think it's gonna be a battle between that and Cyberpunk. Like, people who are not playing Cyberpunk are playing Age of Calamity. If they finish Age of Calamity within the weekend, they'll be playing Cyberpunk. But I think I think Age of Calamity is standing out so much more to everybody that the hype for it and the lore that they're going to be looking for within the story and everything, it's going to be there. It's going to make a lot of people happy.
See, I don't think that is really going to be competing with Cyberpunk all that much, because I think, like, I agree with what you said. You know, there's people that are obviously excited for Cyberpunk, and then there's people that are obviously excited for Age of Calamity in their own camps. But I think universally, I think both games are going to just sell like hotcakes.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't think that they're going to be competing against each other at all. One, because different platforms, and two, because I mean the install base for the Switch already is so huge that, you know, and this is another Zelda game in the Breath of the Wild world with that engine, with that look, with that feel. People are, you know, that's an easy pickup for them. Cyberpunk, well, that is coming out on current gen systems as well, right? Like PS4 and Xbox One. So, you know, but if you have people also upgrading to the next console, it's, you know, I don't think they're really going to be competing as so much as they're just both going to just sell. Like, it's just, there's going to be, I don't think it's going to be a competition. I don't think one's going to be, I think you could look at it numbers wise to see which one did better, but I don't think you're going to see much difference. I think they're going to sell right around the same, if not dead even.
Yeah, I agree. I guess to clarify, it's just like those are two anticipated games for November, and I think people are going to pick both of them up. I think just for people who are going to play Hyrule Warriors, I think they're going to probably try to beat it in a short amount of time due to Cyberpunk being such a bigger and maybe a longer game and everything. I just think that with Age of Empire, goodness,
wow.
Age of Calamity.
I mean, that's also coming out this fall too. So,
Age of Calamity is. I think the trailers are working for people to be more anticipated in selling this game. They're rolling it out good, and Cyberpunk is doing a great job too, doing it. You know, Paris, he's been doing a good job promoting it and everything. And so I think when it hits the 19th and it hits the 20th, like if you got your $120 ready to go for those two games, then yeah. I just think that Nintendo Koei Tecmo are doing a fantastic job marketing that game, and I feel like when it comes out, there's going to be just so much to it. Yes, the action is going to be repetitive, but in a Musou game like that, it's always repetitive.
The action in Breath of the Wild was somewhat repetitive with the very limited enemy variants, and I love Breath of the Wild, but I'm a harsh critic of it. It's when I recently did my rankings for all the Zelda games for Zelda Dungeons. Every year we do a best Zelda ever rankings where all the staff members rank all the Zelda games that they've played, 1 through whatever it is, and then we compile all that data and come up with a definitive best Zelda ever ranking list based on our everyday's inputs. Anyways,
Wand of Gamelon.
Should be. Tingles, Rosy Rupert Land, and Ripened Balloon Trip of Love. There you go. But I put Breath of the Wild down at, I think I had it at 5 this year, and I think that's up from last year. But a large reason for it going up in my rankings is because I'm so excited to get back into that world because of Age of Calamity. I think one of the games that's going to benefit most from Age of Calamity is the original Breath of the Wild, because I think you're going to see, after people play Age of Calamity or while leading up to it, you're going to see people diving back into that world or going back into there, or if they missed out on it, they're going to get it again and go back into it and play it, or not go back into it. If they missed out on it, they're going to go back and play it now and just go explore it and have a totally different perspective on it, because that was what I criticized it most about was, yes, this world is beautiful. There is so much to explore and so much to see, but I want to know why. My favorite place is the Akala Citadel, because you got a story about it. When you went there, there's the NPC who will talk to you about it, who will tell you the history of it. And that's all. I mean, that's not much, but that was so much to me, and that made it my favorite place, and that region is just beautiful in general. But it's that idea that there is more to these areas than just these ruins, these backstory-less ruins.
Which I think that's like, it was a new thing for Nintendo to do, put Link in this kind of world and change this kind of gameplay. I always say that Breath of the Wild is a science game. You know, you're trying different things to see what works. You're doing kind of alchemy where you're cooking and stuff like that. And it feels like that. You know, I asked on Block, you know, when Nintendo does, when they change their formula basic games, it sometimes change their genre. And Breath of the Wild kind of did that in a certain way with open world games. Like climate has been a basic gameplay of things, but everybody was just like, I want this kind of climate in every open world game that I play. Mm-hmm. You know, and it's just like, when you go into Breath of the Wild, it's such an adventure that if you want to find a lore and it doesn't tell you, you kind of have a right to create your own lore about it if you want to, if you feel like it. But other than that, it's there. And so it'll lead up to more questions, and then hopefully those questions lead you to want to explore in that game. Nintendo has never, in the last time I think Nintendo have actually put something that you really want to find something about was kind of Metroid Other M, because Metroid's never had a story at all. Samus has never had a background or a voice or anything. And like I said, regardless of what you think about it, this is the first time Nintendo did a story that's something serious like that.
Sure.
Celeste, I'm sorry.
I wasn't disagreeing with you, Ed, on Other M, just more or less on Metroid as a whole.
Oh,
there is a story there, but
yeah, there is a story, but like when you're like really playing the games, you don't really get nothing about that. I think more people just like, go ahead, Corey.
It's all stuff that you like kind of have to look up, you know. I don't know. Like I think Metroid's story is pretty interesting, but you have to like go out of your way to find it, and I think that's the one thing that Nintendo is not very good at, is like telling like a good story within the game, you know. And like it's always like, now I mean they're getting better, right? Like Breath of the Wild did some really cool things with their story, with the memories and stuff, but you still like, I think why people like games like The Witcher and, you know, other like third-party games or games on other platforms, you know, Sony gets a lot of credit for their storytelling and stuff. Like they want like a kind of like a cinematic story that you can play through, and Nintendo doesn't really do that, you know. And I know a lot of their games are kind of like, well, these are games, you play them, you know. Mario, what do you need a story of Mario for? You're jumping on turtles and throwing mushrooms at dinosaurs and like, you know what I mean? Like it's just stupid.
It's the level design.
But Nintendo does have franchises that could really benefit from a, maybe not like a God of War or Last of Us style story, but like more
character driven.
Yeah. And
Star Fox.
Oh wow!
Remember side tangent? Remember that side project that was rumored that there was going to be a Metroid Star Fox crossover game for the Wii U at some point?
I didn't hear that.
Yeah,
I knew there was a Star Fox Racing rumored. But
yeah, this was like right when the Wii U came out, and they were talking about Star Fox Metroid game.
Oof.
But
Celeste, with you being Celeste, with you being from another Zelda podcast, like what does Zelda lore in an open world game from Breath of the Wild, like how does that like inspire you guys, and also you, David, like because you know you have your story, you have that beautiful book behind you, like. When it comes to stuff like that, do you guys think that Breath of the Wild kind of helped you guys create more of the lore, more of the story, more ideas that you could think of?
I'll let you go first, Celeste.
Oh, okay. I loved it because the experience felt like I was really waking up to this world that was not my own anymore. I felt like I was Link. I was lost. I didn't know where I was. I had to explore what had changed. I was trying to pick up the pieces, and I'm very excited, like you guys mentioned, with Age of Calamity, I can go back and play Breath of the Wild with fresh eyes. I love that. I love prequels. I think they're so awesome. And I'm sure they did it on purpose too. I think they knew what they were doing. But as far as creating, this one gave us more. Zelda has had personality in other games, especially as Tetra, but as the true, like the princess form of Zelda, this one was awesome. I think as far as creativity, no, I hadn't really thought about that. I felt like it gave me hope, because we've seen in previous Zelda games how divided the races are, especially the Gerudo. They almost seem like outcasts. And again, I think that that's a little bit of their maybe self-imposed that way. They're carrying on traditions. They want to stay within their outpost in the desert. But seeing them wander around in other games, we would see Gorons wandering around. Like in Wind Waker, they're on other islands. In Twilight Princess, we see some. But it was just so cool to see people exploring. I don't know. It felt like a game of hope and joy. A new dawn.
Yeah. I know for me, like, what Breath of the Wild did for me and my story specifically was it gave me a sense that I was on the right path with ideas. Like, like in my story, there is a group of Gerudo defectors who are still loyal to Ganondorf. I call them the Dragmire clan, which is a play on the canonical last name of Ganondorf and all that. But it was, and when they had Breath of the Wild, you had the Yiga clan. I remember when I first watched the first trailer for it, it felt like this is going to be like Hyrule all-out war. Like there's going to be this big climactic, battle between all these races coming together to stop Ganon once and for all kind of thing. And that was my impression of it. Obviously, we got something a little different than that. We got they failed, now they're here. How do we pick up the pieces kind of story? And when Age of Calamity stuff started coming out, I was freaking out because every time I've seen something in a trailer for this, I've looked at it and said, "This is my story. This is the same story that I wrote in a different setting."
That last trailer with the eyes.
Yeah, right.
What's going on? I got hyped.
Yep. Well, I mean, and the meme is we all know how Age of Calamity is going to end. They all die. Ha ha ha. But you don't see that. Well, guess what? That's the same in my story. We know you meet Gerudo in the Earth Temple and the Wind Temple, and they're ghosts. They're spirits. They're dead. They're deceased. They're kaputs. So how do we get there? And the story that I built is that story. How do you get from this victory before, in the backstory of Breath of the Wild, there was victory over the Calamity Ganon. How do you get from that victory to the defeat, and then ultimately back to victory again? And that's the Age of Calamity story, and that's the hero without a hero story. It's how do you go from the victory that was the ending of Ocarina of Time to a period in time where Hyrule needed to be flooded. What was so wrong? How did it get there? What that needs explanation. And so then I think that's what Age of Calamity is kind of doing for Breath of the Wild. And that's why I say, I was saying Breath of the Wild is going to have a totally different feel after you play this. After you play Age of Calamity, when you go into Breath of the Wild, you're going to you'll be running, you jump off the Great Plateau, go down to the Outpost Ruins. Well, that's where that Yiga guy with the broken mask was doing the back handspring and laughing at Link and Zelda. That's you'll see these places, and that was. So when I think about Breath of the Wild, those are those moments that I wanted. There's a few that you get. You can go to Lon Lon Ranch, the ranch ruins, and you can see clearly, okay, that's where the silo was, and Ocarina of Time, and things like that. But in Breath of the Wild, it's completely destroyed. Age of Calamity, what did we see in some of the gameplay last weekend or 2 weekends ago? They're at the ranch. and you see the buildings, you see Malin and Talon's house, you see the barn, you see it all, and it's there, and it's just that's what's
hype.
I can't wait. I can't wait to see them in their glory before the fall.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but that's what did it do? What did Breath of the Wild do to me creatively? Is it showed me that yes, the seeds of what I'm building in my story are there. There's interest for them, so I'm on the right track with building my story the way I am. And now Age of Calamity is here, and it's that's my story.
It's so funny that you mentioned it, because that E3 trailer when they first showed the Breath of the Wild, and Numa snapped and he showed that world. Like, I see that, I'm like, what are you doing, Nintendo? And did not expect that they would take us on this journey.
Yep. Yeah.
Goosebumps, y'all.
Man, remember the first Breath of the Wild trailer though, when the Guardian was just chasing Link on Epona, and they showed him jump off the horse in slow motion and just
man.
Mm-hmm. I remember the speculation. Is that Link?
Yeah.
Is that Zelda?
Yeah.
Yeah, because of the ponytail.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and they changed Link's model a little bit in the final game, but that first model, it's pretty
somewhat androgynous. Yeah. It was very,
It would have been cool if it was Zelda, though. I'm still waiting for that game.
Well, I think we'll see her be a top boss.
Yeah. I keep saying, I feel like there might be, some sort of either, I don't want to say, light co-op elements, but also, you could switch between Link and Zelda, and there's almost like an RPG party system where, Link, it's like Link.
It's like, yes.
It would almost
Zelda
be like
RPG
just so I actually thought about this last night while I was going through some of my Xbox games, and I came across the Kingdom Hearts collections, and I don't know if any of you guys played Kingdom Hearts at all, but usually when you go to one of the Disney worlds, you pick either Goofy or Donald to be with you, and then you get that world's character, right? With you. What if there's some sort of party system like that where, okay, well, I'm Link and Zelda is with me, but now I can pick one of the new champions to play with me in this weird party system, and then you can use Zelda and Link together to solve puzzles in shrines, or I just have all these ideas.
So
yes.
So many years ago, when I first started working on this was some of the notes that I was developing for Arrow Without a Hero as a game, was a party system with swappable characters, different roles that you could have. Yeah. Let's see here. Oh yeah, there's a Link, Zelda, Ganondorf, and stats and stuff like that. So saying Zelda RPG gave me a warm fuzzies all over.
That's why I said it. Breath of the Wild kind of changed in a sense the Zelda franchise, because we all come with theories. We always all come with ideas, and I don't know what other game has done that on any platform where there could be so many theories for just one game, and whether it's true or not, the possibilities are there.
Oh, and that's the Zelda franchise as a whole. I mean, for the first 24 years of its lifespan, it was everybody theorizing how to put the games together in a single cohesive timeline. Joke was on us. They had 3. So, but, it's...
Remember when we found out it was 3 timelines that split from Ocarina, and everybody was just like, what?
I have a friend who claims he called that, and he's someone who is a bit of a braggart, so I don't know.
What is the 3 timelines?
Okay, so Link, the hero falls, the hero is successful, and then the child timeline, right, David?
Correct. So there's 2 options if Link is successful in Ocarina of Time, and those happen no matter what. When Zelda sends Link back in time after defeating Ganon, she creates a split timeline. The child timeline continues on with Majora's Mask, Twilight Princess, and Four Swords Adventures, and then the adult timeline carries on without a hero, hence the era without a hero, with the Wind Waker, Phantom Hourglass, and then Spirit Tracks. And if theoretically Link were to have failed in defeating Ganon at any point in his journey in Ocarina of Time, that then gives you the downfall timeline, which leads to the Sealing War, which is the backstory of A Link to the Past. And then you have A Link to the Past, and then that same Link goes on to Link's Awakening and the Oracle games, and then you have A Link Between Worlds, and then the original Zelda and Zelda 2.
But Link's Awakening is a dream. So,
yes.
But that's still
is
canon.
Phantom Hourglass on the adult timeline. But it is the same. So when the timeline was first published, they've retconned Link's Awakening before the Oracle games. But in the original publishing of it came after the Oracle games, which made sense because you had Link from A Link to the Past being called to the castle at the beginning of the Oracle game by the Triforce. He touches the Triforce. It sends him to either Holodrum or Labyrina at the start of either Oracle of Seasons or Oracle of Ages, whichever one you played first. And then at the end of the linked game, so if you did both of those, you would link them up, you complete the story, you defeat Twinrova and defeat Ganon. The last shot is Link sailing away on a boat that looks exactly like the boat that wrecks at the beginning of Link's Awakening.
Okay. And what about the regular Legend of Zelda?
That is the second to last game on the downfall timeline.
Because does that mean that the three Triforce end up getting to the 8 pieces?
Well, so the Triforce of Courage at some point, presuming that the Link from A Link to the Past and those other 3 games eventually passed away. The Triforce of Courage then returned to the Great Palace, which is where you see it in Zelda 2. The Link that you play as in the original Legend of Zelda is a traveler that comes to Hyrule. And when he comes to Hyrule, Impa finds him and and tells him, like, hey, we are in danger, we need your help. And that's where the game picks up, you in the forest, and then you find the old man with the sword, and then you go and save Princess Zelda and defeat Ganon. And then all of Zelda 2 is then following that same Link on a quest to save.
Let's all forgive it. Let's forget Zelda 2 because I don't like that
game.
Zelda
2 has so much good lore. I loathe playing that game.
So many names of cities and towns in Breath of the Wild.
Well, yeah, Zelda 2 is a bastion of lore. Because Zelda 2 gave us the first incarnation of the Triforce of Courage. It gave us the first actual Triforce that we know and love it today. All the cities and towns in Zelda 2, except for one, are named after sages from Ocarina of Time. So they would later recycle those to make that the history and all that fun stuff.
I could
go on for a while with this stuff. Somebody shut me up.
This is a better podcast than I had planned, so I'm just gonna throw that out there.
I want your memory, David.
I know. It's
I have spent far too much time researching Zelda history and lore, either for my own story or before that when I was a Zelda theorist. If YouTube had been what it is today, 10, 15 years ago, I would be I'd be up there with Zeltic and them, probably, maybe, I don't know. But
you know what's weird? Zelda, the Legend of Zelda series and Castlevania kind of go hand in hand because of how much lore and backstory and timelines and families that each of them go through. It's very amazing when you hear the history and people talk about it. It's very interesting. I've never thought about that. And like Corey with Destiny and stuff, like that has a really big history to it, even though it's only in 2 games. There's so much stuff to it.
Yeah.
Okay, riddle me this. I really hope in Age of Calamity we find out what brings the lady who lives in the garbage dump to that area.
Oh wow.
Wow.
Do y'all know who I'm talking about?
I think so. I'm trying to.
It's this area, and she's making this food, and she won't let you use her cooking pot, and her food is like charred. And
is she down along the southern coast?
Yeah, I think so.
No, that's the lady that's obsessed with the like the Sheikah ball, the Sheikah orb.
Oh, yeah, the one who like is all caressing it and stuff.
Yeah, then she does inappropriate things with it. Yeah.
Oh my god. Oh my god. The woman.
And we're back here.
Thanks, David. You're now part of. Apparently, you have an OnlyFans, or maybe she has an OnlyFans. Moza is the character. She's a Hylian cooker who apparently specializes in cooking dubious food and rock hard food due to her poor cooking skills.
Rock hard food. Wow.
She lives in a garbage heap in like this little tent, and I just was like, what's going on here? What's going on in your life? What do you need to talk to someone?
Nintendo's wacky with some stuff in the series.
Yeah, some of the characters, I have actually taken the time to follow NPCs that wander to see how far they go.
That's one of the guys, the owner of Zelda Dungeon. He's actually done that for the wiki. He has sat there and followed everybody. He has like thousands of hours in it. It's crazy.
He's dedicated. I've only done it with like one character.
Wow. I thought I was dedicated by putting 225 hours in.
That's a start.
Yeah.
I mean, if this question. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, if this podcast was only about Zelda all the time, I might have 1,000 hours in there, but I do not. So. All right, so we're not going to answer all of our questions tonight. We're going to save some for next week. But we do have listener questions. Let me pull the doc back up because I was enthralled that I just deleted the doc from my desktop here. All right. Our first question, we are going to answer Greg Osterman III's question first. He writes in and says, "Hey blockers, do you think Nintendo sees the value of having a world like Breath of the Wild, Hyrule, and its story to play in for multiple games and genres rather than resetting every game? The last time we saw this was Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask, but it seems a lot more seriously tied this time around. Thanks." So...
I see value in it. I think they already.
They didn't ask if you saw value in it. They said if Nintendo had value in it, Ed.
Oh.
What's your valuable take though, Ed? I want to know.
I think Nintendo does see value. I'm sorry, Roddy. I think Nintendo sees value in this world because, like I stated before, that they created this big world that you can explore, and there's so much in there that people are still fighting out, and so this could continue on maybe for another 3 or 4 games, and they could go any kind of years that they want to, and people will see that there's just something about this world that's drawing everybody in. They want to research, and Nintendo could put more little tidbits and stuff before they get ready to make their new Zelda title and everything. So I think they find a lot of value in it. You know, people are talking about it and buying the amiibos and stuff like there, and buying books and coming up with theories and podcasts and stuff. I think Nintendo's checking out and listen to like a lot of the fans, and they'd be like, okay, if they're thinking this way, we could zag this way, and they have a lot they can add to it. So yeah, of course, I think they have a lot of value.
Yeah, I just remember there was an interview where Anuma said that they didn't want to have to build a new engine for every game, right? And this was kind of the start of their attempt to keep an engine going for multiple games. And I don't necessarily know if Hyrule Warriors or Age of Calamity is running on the Breath of the Wild engine. I'm assuming it is. Like at least
I think it is. I know graphically it is.
Yeah. So I mean, when he said that, I assumed that we were going to get at least 2 or 3 games with this engine. I think their approach to Zelda has been interesting and different than a lot of other companies, right? Like you saw, I mean, not to compare this to like a Destiny or anything, but like Halo, when Bungie was developing Halo, they developed the Halo Reach engine, not for Halo. They developed it for Destiny, right? And Destiny 2 is still running on the Halo Reach engine. And it's heavily modified, obviously, and there's a lot of spaghetti code in there, which is why, I mean, not to turn this into Tower Casuals or anything, but like they say there's a lot of spaghetti code in there that they have to, when they do an update that should probably, maybe take a couple weeks, it takes months for them to make sure it doesn't break any of that spaghetti code holding that game together, which is why like a lot of the game is actually being removed this fall or in November when the game comes out, right? So I think companies want to make the most and like use their engines that they build, and Nintendo was building engines specifically for one Zelda game, and they would start over, right? I mean, we saw that with Wind Waker to Twilight Princess to Skyward Sword and now Breath of the Wild, and it really seems like they're using this Breath of the Wild engine to its fullest, and with Monolith's help building the world, and I don't know, it just seems like that the Breath of the Wild Hyrule is a Hyrule we're going to be in for a while.
Without a doubt.
Yeah, plus since they now can focus on one console instead of splitting it into two, they can put more of their time and energy into the Switch, and get more out of it.
Yeah. Plus, I think a lot of people, I think it helps people become invested in the series, right? Like if there's going to be a direct sequel to this, I feel like Nintendo, like aside from Mario, Nintendo has always kind of shied away from making direct sequels, right? Like I really feel that way, except for like, I guess like the Metroid Prime trilogy is one example where they didn't, and obviously Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask,
and they tried to do it with Star Fox, and it just got, because Star Fox 64 flows into Adventures, and then Adventures into Conquest, and then after Conquest you got Assault, and if you want a good like half hour of oh my gosh, what did I just watch? Go watch the endings to all the various endings to Star Fox Assault. You will never look at Star Fox the same. The idea that one version of the story ending with Fox and Falco drinking at a bar together, crying over Crystal joining Starwolf, and it's weird.
I mean, let's be honest, Star Fox is a little weird anyway. You got these animals flying what are essentially X-Wings. It's just...
Sure. But the point...
I know what you're saying.
Yeah. And I definitely think that Nintendo is invested in this world, or otherwise they wouldn't be reusing it for, Age of Calamity, and now Age of Calamity, and then Breath of the Wild 2, which we already know is going to be on at least the same map, basically. I mean, they're going to do something to it, either an underground and a dark world version. Who knows what they'll do with it? But yeah, I think they're very invested, not just in the engine, but the world, and yeah.
I still think that Breath of the Wild is going to be a trilogy outside of Age of Calamity. Outside of Age of Calamity, I think, I still think like there's going to be a Breath of the Wild 3 at some point. Also,
this is just Breath of the Wild 0.2.
Yeah,
with the Kingdom Hearts reference.
Oh, jeez, please don't. I'm not waiting 20 years for my third game, and then I just don't care about it anymore.
Final Chapter DX Beyond the Light.
Let's
over
put
55 days.
Let's put
90%. Right.
Let's put 90% of the story that's essential to the game on a handheld 3DS. Somewhere else.
Yeah.
And in our free-to-play phone game where you have to spend like $3,000 to get the whole story.
Oh God.
Kingdom Hearts, what a
franchise.
Yeah.
Everybody's enjoyed the demo.
I do love it. I do love Kingdom Hearts. We bought the Story So Far collection when that came out right before 3, and played through all those, and it's fun. But
I love the concept of Kingdom Hearts, but I tried to play 3 and I'm like, wow, I think I'm playing PlayStation 2 again. It's a beautiful game. You know, it's a great game. It's just, man,
if you think you can play, my wife and I were discussing this the other day, like if you think you can play Kingdom Hearts 1, 2, and 3 and you'll get the story, by the time you get to 3, you'll be like, who are these people?
Yeah.
Where did this person come from?
Yeah, no, there's I do like how they kind of shorten the handheld games, at least, and like kind of, I think Birth by Sleep is pretty essential.
Birth by Sleep is not only essential, but it's probably the best or second best game in the series.
Yeah. And then
I think 2, and then maybe Birth by Sleep.
Yeah. And then 2.8 is essential. And then that's a weird series. Weird. Maybe we should just do a Kingdom Hearts series of episodes for something for expansion pack at some point. But anyways, yeah, I think that Nintendo is at least trying to make this story feel like a real investment, and I really appreciate that about this. Like, I've been more invested in Breath of the Wild than I have any other Zelda game, and I love Zelda, so I think the last time I was this invested was Twilight Princess. But people give me crap for Twilight Princess all the time. I still love that game.
Why?
It's a good game. It's a very good game.
So good.
What about you, Celeste?
I think, especially when I think about the same types of Link used, I think the Toon Link / Wind Waker Link is the one who's been used the most, right? Wind Waker, Minish Cap, Phantom Hourglass, Spirit Tracks.
The Four Swords games.
Four Swords games, yeah. So
Triforce Heroes.
Yes! I think he's the most popular one. I wonder if it's because is it the easiest to use, maybe, for technical purposes? I don't know. It's charming if you want a more lighthearted Zelda game, for sure. But, yeah, so I think it benefits Nintendo. You guys said pretty much everything I could think of with that. I would love something akin to Majora's Mask in the Breath of the Wild universe.
This is going to be the this is definitely going to be the Empire Strikes Back of Zelda. It's going to be dark.
Goodness.
It's going to be dark at the end, and then the third game you're just going to play as Zelda and save Link. Calling it. Unless my party system comes into play, and
please.
I know. I want a party system so bad. And then you scan the Wolf Link amiibo, and then you can have 4 people in your party.
Oh wow!
Yes.
Perfect game right there.
You turn this whole game into something else, and I'm kind of here for it.
You better be here for it.
Give me a Legend of Zelda played like Final Fantasy. They're just on that level of that. Just yeah.
I'd take it.
Yep.
I'd take it. All right. Well, we have been running a little long. We're going to save these last 2 questions for next week. I want to thank everybody for watching and or listening. You can follow us on Twitch here every Monday night live at twitch.tv/BossRushGamesLive, or on podcast services and YouTube every Wednesday morning. David, thanks for joining us. You're welcome here anytime.
My pleasure.
Why don't you remind everybody about your book and where they can find you?
You can find me on Twitter over at DaveWayne09, or if you want to just follow my stuff about my Zelda book, it's Zelda Tewa, which is T, the arrow without a hero initials. I'm tired. I'm not going to try to spell it out.
I know. I'm tired too.
We're all old, y'all.
I know.
But yeah, so you can follow me there either at Zelda Tewa or at DaveWayne09. Or just look for my articles over on Zelda Dungeon. I've been really lacking this month. I haven't written a word because I've been so busy with school, but hopefully I'm going to change that this week.
I'm so excited for you to become an English teacher.
Oh yes, I'm I can't wait.
Yes.
I'm ready for school to be over so I can go to school.
So you can be the teacher this time.
Exactly. Yep.
I'll also have all the links and stuff in the show notes for your book and you and everything. So, Ed, where can we find you?
You guys can find me on Twitter at that retro code. Check out Optional Opinion on SoundCloud and other podcast apps. And check out Boss Rush Podcast. And more content coming in the near future. If by the time you guys watch this, we are getting ready to do the history of Mass Effect, so you guys will be enjoying that. And Talk the Walk, we will be talking about Soma.
Ooh, Celeste.
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Fairy Crypt, and I'm also with Another Zelda podcast. We have an exciting episode coming up in honor of the season.
And also, everybody check out Shane Kelly's 1v1. You guys really enjoyed it.
He's part of Another Zelda podcast, so it was really cool to sit down with a colleague and chit-chat.
Nice. You can find me at I am Corey HD on Twitter and Instagram. You can find me on Arsenal X, our Xbox podcast, Tower Casuals, our Destiny podcast, and various other things here on Boss Rush Games. Remember to like, subscribe, share, rate, and review wherever you listen to us. Thank you guys so much for watching and or listening. And until next time, we love you.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, guys.